Hi, I'm Paul. For this video, I want to talk about I've talked about in the past, having space in the brain, not being closed. I just want to make a bit more of a description of it. And I'm going to talk about this starting off, I guess, with desire and fear. You see, I'm going to say that desire and fear are the flip sides of a coin. I'm not going to say the opposite of each other. Maybe that's the same thing, I'm not really too sure. But if I say the flip side of the same coin, I would say that both fear and desire belong to the same coin, let's say. So fear and desire belong in the same field. They may seem to be opposites, but they still are in the same field. So it seems that in desire, we can move one way towards pleasure. And if we're not moving in the direction of the field, in the direction of pleasure, then we're moving in the direction of fear. Now, the fear is probably just a fear of actually stopping, the mind stopping, but I'm not going to go into that bit. But you see, both fear and desire, both a movement of thought. Now, it seems that when we're in a field, we're wanting to desire, and if desire is not working, it seems we want to fear. You see, I fear tomorrow something may happen, or I fear going out with some friends because I might get embarrassed. You see, this fear is still wanted because it's still a movement of thought. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because as long as there's movement in thought, and there's no space in the brain, it seems that when the space in the brain can heal, can change, can improve. It seems as long as the brain is occupied with desire and thought, then the brain is closed, occupied, too busy to see the truth. When I say see the truth, I mean desire has to be in the future. It has to be a moving towards. The fear perhaps is moving forward and moving backwards, I'm not sure, but either way it's movement of thought. You see, this movement of thought doesn't seem to change your brain. You see, I could change my thoughts. Maybe I can't, but it would appear that I could change. No, let's just stay with I can change my thoughts. I could try to think positive tomorrow or something. I could try to think or believe that I'm something other than I am. But it seems that with thoughts, this just piles on top of the brain, adds more. Doesn't give the brain enough space to see the truth and see the false and heal. See, I mean, this is why I've always really said that meditation is helpful. Because in meditation, we can silence the thoughts and give the brain some space. Once we've managed to make some space in the brain, we can try to see where we're at fault, where we go wrong. It's this seeing the falsity of things, the danger of the way that the mind quite often works. It actually changes the process. Do you know, I wondered the other day about desire. You see, if you desire something, let's say I desire next week going out and meeting somebody, and then I say, oh, I can't wait to go out next week and meet this person, it's going to be great fun, I'm really looking forward to it. It would seem that you're kind of saying to yourself, I'm really looking forward to next week. When I had a look at this, I kind of think that the thing that you're most excited about is the desire of next week, not the next week, the desire of next week. So having the desire, the movement of thought that brings pleasure, is more pleasurable than actually doing whatever it is you're doing next week. Now, I spoke with somebody about this and somebody said, no, I don't think that's true. I'm more looking forward to doing it next week, whatever it is, than I am of the pleasure of desire. So I said, well, can I take away your desire? Can you give up your desire? And they said, no, impossible. I can't stop the thoughts from seeking pleasure in the thought of what I'm doing next week. I said, would it be possible to take away the activity that you're doing next week? Let's say something happens and you can't go. And they said, well, yeah, I think that'd be easier than losing the desire. But it would seem that if I cancelled the activity of next week now, there would be disappointment. If I cancelled it later on, then you're still able to have desire for a few days, which seems to bring pleasure. I also wondered, but we can't have desire or thoughts of something without the how can I put it? Without the thing there to aim towards. So if I took away the thing that you're doing next week, desire would end straight away. You can't have desire without the idea of doing it next week. But I can take away desire and you can still go next week. So it seems that the desire, which is kind of the illusion, has to have some truth to base itself on. I don't really know where I'm going with that. I guess the idea of this video, what I was really talking about, is this space in the brain. It seems to me that the only way you could have space is in moments of not having the movement of thought. I mean, I guess that's what a lot of us are trying to find anyway. But when there's things in the world showing itself to us, therefore creating temptation for desire, makes it very hard for us to live in the space, because temptation leads to desire. If I tempt you, I show you something really interesting. I don't know, this great bargain, it's only £5 when it should have been £600 or whatever. Then there is some part of you that is very hard to fight, but wants to cling on to this temptation that leads me into desire, which is the movement of thought, and then I'm back in it. Seems to me that in this society, world that we live in, there is temptations everywhere. Even with other people, when you speak to other people, it seems they want to drag you in with temptations, try to get you excited, and then you fall for them temptations. And the next minute you're in desire, movement of thought, and then there's no space in the brain. See, I've been in this position and I've been in it and out of it, and nowadays I find it quite easy to, I find it quite easy to not fall into the temptations, but that's still the wrong way of saying it, because it's not even an effort for me to not fall into the temptations. It seems that not falling into the temptations is natural, but it actually takes an effort to move into the temptation. But either way around, I guess the video, what I was talking about was trying to keep the space. To try and keep the space in the brain, you've got to really resist the temptation for the movement of thought. Even though we live in a world showing us temptations endlessly, how you resist the temptation of desire is, I don't know if you can do it without spending time to try and hang on. I think that finding space in the brain is the way of resisting temptation. Only temptation takes you out of the space in the brain. I guess that's a bit of a paradox. But the only way of resisting temptation is to find space and stay in the space in the brain. The space just meaning no movement of thought. Anyway, I think that's pretty much all I've got to waffle on about, so thank you very much for listening.